Hey all, so in this video I'm going to show you how to do the other finishing off technique, which is this woven look. I've done it in two colours here for you to see. If you could just see, we've got some going that way and some going that way, but I'm going to work it in one colour while we're working so you can see what it looks like when it's all one colour, but it gives this lovely kind of woven look at the back. If you want to see videos for the ladder and the spiral, they're already out, so please do check the links and the playlist for them. But this one is slightly different because we have these crossing over, not just going around. So all you need is your scissors and your yarn needle to weave in the ends at the end and chop it off. I'm using some hand spun thick and thin yarn, just because it's nice and chunky and means we don't have to go round so many times, making it a quicker video for you. But you can do it with any weight yarn you like, so it doesn't matter which yarn you got, you just wrap more around until you got to the thickness that you want. This is hand spun alpaca, and as you can see it's much finer than the chunky version that I've done. So I'm going to just join and wrap as you normally would. I'm going to speed through the wrapping because there's already videos showing how to do the wrapping, and I will make sure they're linked here so you can see them. But this is a video about the tying rather than the wrapping, so we're just going to go around, hoping to wrap 4 times, but it might be 3 times depending on how chunky this works up, because this is a thick and thin yarn. But again, check out the shorts video that is going to be linked down below, and hopefully linked in a card on this, and it's definitely going to be in the playlist that shows you the wrapping. And then there is a full video doing the ladder stitch, which also has the full wrapping and tying for the ladder stitch. So I figured you didn't need the same video showing the same things on every single video, because you can just refer to those for the wrapping. The tying's the only thing that's different. The wrapping is the same no matter which tying method you're using. So we've got almost 2 around, 1 more and then we'll have 2 around, and I think looking at this we might only do 3 around because it's looking quite chunky already. So that finishes that, so we're going to go around 1 more time. 1 complete round, remember, which looks like 2 rounds. But yeah, this is definitely already quite chunky, so I think we will stick to doing just 3 wraps rather than 4, because it's already starting to struggle in a couple of places. Okay, so there we go, we've got 3 on every one, so give them a little push down if it's getting a bit full, just so you make sure they don't slide off while you're tying. And that makes it nice and secure. And then we're going to gently take out that so we can secure it around. I try to get the knot at the front a little so we can hide it in that. And then we'll put the end down because we'll just work that around. Now again, I'm just going to work my length out by just roughly wrapping it around here 5 times. Now remember, there is a video showing how to do all this much slower. So if you're wanting to see this bit, you can check those videos I linked, but this is about the tying rather than the wrapping, so I just sped through this bit. Get it all off, there we go, we're back to the end. So, grab your yarn needle, thread it through. As usual, because I'm working with quite a long strand, I pull it quite far through, so that it's not too much to pull through as we go. Right, so as you can see, we're going to be working more in a zigzag than a spiral or ladder that we did before. So we actually start with the white. If you can see the white strands, that's what we're starting with. So we're here, we're just going to go across one, and then we're going to go diagonal down to there, down one, and then diagonal up, across one, diagonal down, and then down one, and then diagonal up, across to that corner, diagonal all the way down to that corner, and across one, diagonal up to that, down one, and then diagonal to there, across one, diagonal up, down one, diagonal down, and finish there. So we're working in a line that takes us zigzagging along and slightly straight on the edges to go to the next line to go zigzag. So that makes sense, I hope. So as I said, we're going to start up here. I'm going to go across one. I'm just going to leave that down there to work through. Even though we're going diagonal, it will get caught in a couple of places, so it won't matter too much that it's sticking up, because that will get tied off eventually, because everything does get tied off even though we're working diagonal, so it will get secured. So what we do, start with this corner. And remember, we're going to go in, make sure you get underneath all those strands, and by creating that loop we're going through it already. And again, there is a slower version of the tying method in a shorts video, but the tying method is the same no matter which finishing off pattern we are doing, whether it's the zigzag we're doing now, or the spiral, or the ladder. The actual knots are tied exactly the same way every time. So we've done this one, so instead of going down here like we did with the ladder and the spiral, we're going to go across one to start with, so that we're able to do that diagonal. So just pop your thing down so you're able to create that loop to go through. Give it a good pull, make sure that it's pulling tight through, because you don't want it to be loose on the front, which can happen if you're not careful with these extra chunky yarns. So just give it a little extra thing. Okay, so we've done this white here, we've done here to here, so we're going to go diagonal down and tie that. So we're just going to take the thread down across, and we're going to tie exactly the same way through these corners, but we've just got to make sure we're getting that. So I go through these corners first to secure that down, and then I worry about going across there. I just think that makes it easier, but it doesn't really matter which way round you do it. You can secure either direction and it will still hold the same. So because I've now done that direction, I need to do this direction. So just pick either under or above the cross, it doesn't really matter. I always pick there and just tie like you did before. So now we've done there and there, we've come down diagonal and we're there, and we've got that strand loose going across there, which is where you want. So we're going to work down one so that we can tie there and then work back up to there. So just down like you would normally do. And I'll show you on the multicoloured one in a minute so you can see where we are. So we've done this and we've gone there and we've gone down there. So now we're going to work across there so that we secure those ones before going across to go down. Okay, so of course we want to do this one here first because it's the first one in the row. So just go across, try to make sure you don't accidentally thread through that, and make sure you've gone through your loop. Again, make sure you've gone either side of your strand rather than through it, because you don't want to go through these strands, you want to go either side of it so that they stay loose going across. So we've done that one, so we're going to go up to this one, so we're going across here onto that one there, so we're just going in the straight line across. Make sure you go through your loop. Okay, so we've gone across there, gone there, and we've gone down, and now we've gone up to here. So we're going to go across here, ready to go down that way. Because we need to work on that line, we go to this one, that's the first one on the line. Make sure you've gone through your loop and you haven't missed it like I did there. Give it a good pull. Okay, so we've gone there, so now we're going to work down diagonally through these ones here. So down that path there, so just hold it across there and then tie as you normally would. Try to make sure you don't tie that strand, so you want to go in between there and the strand so that you're not tying that one down because you want that loose. And again, just give a good pull like you always do, and then through there. So that's that done, so we need to go across here because we're going across this direction, so we do this one next. Make sure you've gone through your loop. Again, we've still got to get to the end, so we're going that nice diagonal line. And make sure you're catching your loose end here, so that way you have less to weave in at the end. Make sure that's getting pulled nice and tight. Yeah, so we've gone across there and we're at this point. So we've done this down here, up there, we've gone across and we've gone down here. So now we need to go down one in order to do the next line up. So you go down just like you normally would. So now we've secured this one, we've gone down, we now need to work back up that line there so that we're working at that angle along there, which is this one here. So again, just hold it where you're heading. I'm going to go through, make sure you don't catch that strand, you want to come up between the cross and that strand and through your loop obviously. Pull, forget to do this way around. Again, make sure you haven't caught that strand because you want to keep that one loose and diagonal. And then we're going to go up to this one because we're still working upwards. So same process. sure you've gone through your loop. I always have a little trouble catching my loop working in that direction, which is why I usually turn my work when I'm doing it, but for the zigzag it's probably easier not to turn so you know where you are at all times. Again, make sure you don't catch that strand. And across to there. Okay, so we've done these ones. So that way, down, up, across one, down. We've gone up here, so we're going to go across to this corner here and then work all the way down to that corner. So I think you get the gist of this now, so I'm just going to speed along. So we're just going to go down to this corner, across one, all the way up to this, down one, diagonal down to here, across, diagonal to there, down, diagonal to here, and then we finish off here. So each one of these crosses will have a tie on it. We're just working diagonal down through. Okay. We're on the final one now, down in this corner, and this will secure all of your cross points. See how they're now all secure, every single one has a tie point on it. So this is the end of the white section, which is we've gone down and across on each one. So everything has been secured. You could leave it at that if you wanted, but to get this crosshatch you want to do some going that way, but we don't need to tie, we're just going to weave them through. Now I don't have enough yarn to go all the way around, and that was intentional, because if you work with enough to do that last one as well, the strands become quite unmanageable. But if you're feeling brave, you can wrap an extra 2 times to have it so it's 7 times around. But I tend to just grab a new strand and just roughly work out another 2 times. Now depending on your yarn and your thickness, this might be more than enough or it might not be enough, but it doesn't matter, you can just add more in by just giving a little tie in those sections and nobody would notice. So I'm just going to attach this, get it through my needle. Okay, so we're just going to attach this to now. Now we finished off here. In order to get the opposite direction, we have to start in a different corner. We're going to start up in this corner. So just kind of thread your strand through. Leave enough to weave that end in. Just give it a little tie so that it's in there, out of the way. No one's really going to notice the extra knot. And then I'm going to turn, so we're starting in this corner. So we're now starting the opposite corner than where we finished. So we finished here and we're going to start here. Okay? And we do that so that we can follow the exact same path we did for the white, but we're going to do it with the blue. So remember, we came across and then we went diagonal, we went down one, then we went across, diagonal side, then across one, diagonal down, and we follow this exact same path that we did for the white. But what we're going to do is we're going to weave through the knots rather than creating knots. So we're just going to go across to this one first, and all we're going to do is literally go through the middle of the knots. So just kind of pull it through. Now you want to make sure you're going through the middle, not the underside, because we don't want this visible on the other side, so we're going straight through the middle. And that's just going to secure us in here. And now we need to go down that way, just like we did with the white, because we want to create that cross there. So just grip your knot, go into the middle and pull it through, and that creates your cross. And again, you have to go down one so that we can line up for going across. So just weave in your end. Give it a good pull. If you've pulled your things really tight, it's going to take a little bit to pull it through. But that's good, because that means it's secure. So now we're down here, we're going to want to work up across this way. So I tuck underneath that strand, just because I think it looks neater if we're going from under, but then we go over that bit, and we're just going to poke through the middle. It doesn't really matter which side of the thread, you're just going to make sure you poke through. And I always try to lay this cross strand across the top of the previous strand. So we've gone above it here and here, so we'll make sure we're going above and not below on that one. And we're just going to, again, go through the middle of that knot. And so it's going to be a little stiff if you've tied them really tight, but that's a good thing because we want it to stay in place. Okay, so we've done that. So again, we've got to go across this way. Just want to kind of pop it through. And now we're going to go back down that way, creating the crosses that way. So staying above, just kind of find a spot to weave in through. Make sure you don't pull too tight because we don't want to shorten the squares, so just keep them not loose but just taunt across there. And again, staying above, I'm just going to go in through that knot. If you split the yarn, that's actually a good thing because it holds it in even tighter, so don't worry about splitting the yarn. There. So we've done across there, so we're going to go down again. Keep making sure you're going through the middle and not the bottom. And we're going to go across. You see how we don't have any across this one? So we want to go across there, but I make sure I've gone underneath that strand so that we're coming out in that corner, not tucking across that one. And just keep pushing it through. And going across, so just follow that line across. It's a little fiddly if you've got it tight, but it does go through. And go into that final one here. Okay, so we've gone across there, and now again we're going to go into the corner. Maybe maneuver so your thing is coming out through there rather than out through there, so that we can now go down through there. So we're just going to go down through there, we're going to go across one, up to there, down one, across to there, and we're just going to follow it along like we did with the previous tying of the white. So I will speed through that, but we're just going across each one of these ones that aren't crossed. So creating, remember to stay on top, or if you've gone underneath then stay underneath, but just keep them consistent. There we go, so we've got all of these done. So just secure your end just by tying another knot, and then weave your end through just to make sure that it's secured through. So that's just going through just like you've been doing to take those through, but it's just for the end. Always through the middle to make sure it's nice and secure. And then snip. Weave in your remaining ends across, which I won't do on camera, but basically it's the same thing. And then we're just going to take it off like you normally would. So that's the back. Just tuck them down there for the minute, we'll weave them in later. See how we've got the cross hatching on the back. Hopefully you can see that. The light seems to be going on me, but I'm hoping it's good for you. And then if we turn it over, you've got this wonderful woven texture through it. Can you see that? And this gives quite a firm fabric, so this is great for bags and things. So it's like this one, so they're all woven across the back, but on a single colour it just gives a really nice solid looking block that will be really good for your more firmer projects. Thinner yarn is not quite as firm, but it is still much firmer than say your ladder stitch, which is quite flimsy, but gives a nice stiff fabric, which is really good. So I hope that's helped. Any questions, pop them in the comments, and don't forget to check out the rest of the videos. Each one of these techniques will have a short video, like the tying and the wrapping. They have short videos to go along with these longer ones, so if you need a quick refresher you can just watch the short video instead of watching the big long video. Okay, so I'll see you all later. You will take care. Bye.